Hi, welcome to Lesson 5 in the Full Stack Cloud Developer Preview course. In our last lesson, we were sending data from our web page form to the server, and the server was reporting it could not find notify me. So we're going to go ahead and add a notify me function on our server side. Let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so we've got our page, and here's where we left off, where we clicked notify me, and it went ahead and send, and we've received a 404 not found error from the server, and that's our code there. So now let's go ahead and jump into the Java folder, and we already have a service here from the previous lessons where we went ahead and set up this hello function. So now let's go ahead and create a new one, and remember we're sending a post from the form, so we're going to use a post mapping annotation. And then we're going to go ahead and set the address to notify me. And so this function is going to receive the post request. And so we're going to make it public, and we're going to return a string. And let's just call the function notify me in Java format. So no dash. We just go ahead and say notify me, and then use the parentheses. We'll take no arguments at this time, although we will be taking some shortly. Okay, so we're going to receive the call, and the simplest thing we can do here is just return notify me, and then we'll see what we get. So let's go ahead and restart our server. So we just go ahead and Control-C that, and then we up arrow, and that'll give us the command that we just ran, or just run Maven Spring Boot run. And now we're back up and running. So let's go ahead and post that form again and see what happens. Okay, we'll put in the email address and notify me. Okay, we've got an unexpected token in JSON. Okay, good thing we have an error, so let's go ahead and see what happened here. Errors are nice because then we learn how to fix them, because this is going to happen to you, and it happens to me all the time. So what are we going to do with this? So it looks like unexpected token. What does that mean? Let's see, we're returning a string. Oh, so we're expecting JSON because we're calling response.json on the client side, and so we actually need to send JSON formatted data. And so just sending a notify me string is not JSON. We need to go ahead and use curly brackets, a label, and then a value. So that's what we're going to do here, and so we're going to just go ahead and hand type out this JSON. We'll be replacing this later. And we just go ahead and do that. Now the slash quote is escaping quotes in Java. So we want quotes in our return data. So let's go ahead and restart the server. And let's post that form again. Okay, there's our message. So now we sent something to the server, and we got a message back. And that's where our console log is. So now we're actually doing a round trip where we're posting and getting the data back. And that's our JSON data. So it's working. So now we just go ahead and iteratively improve this. So what do we need to do here? We're just echoing back a message that says that notify me was called. We need to do more with this. So let's see what the post mapping function is in Spring Boot, and let's see how that works. So the Spring I/O tutorials are really good. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it says in here. And what we're looking for is what parameters can we take, assuming that we don't know anything about Spring Boot. And even if you do, you're going to forget, because I do, and I don't remember what to put in there right now. So let's go ahead and take a look. And they have nice examples so that it'll tell us what to do. Let's just go ahead and search. It's a long document, so let's search for post mapping. And we see that it's imported there, and here it is. So similar to ours, this one's doing employees, there's a request body. So that's what we're sending, a body. So let's go ahead and get the request body. That's what we want. So it's an annotation, and then a type, and then a variable. So let's go ahead and put that at request body. And we're going to go ahead and call the type. Let's just do a map. So a map is a Java generic type. And we're going to say the label is a string, and the value is an object. So it could be a number, it could be a string, it could be more JSON data, which would be another map, and as it would look to Java in this case. So then we've got a body. So now let's go ahead and use our body to see what our email address is. So we're going to do body, and this is a Java map function, so we're going to call get, which will get our label, and we're using email is what we're sending from the client side. And so we're going to get that, and now we've got an object here. So we're trying to put it into a string, and you notice that Visual Studio Code is telling us that we've got something that doesn't match. We're trying to put an object into a string, and so we can just add a cast or change the type. So the best thing to do here is just go ahead and let's take our map and just have it take a string, because we're only going to send email right now. If we ever have to do anything more in the future, we'll do that, but that's the simplest thing to do. Okay, and so email is not used. Let's go ahead and echo back our email and see if we're getting anything. So we've got a label, we'll call it email, and then we'll go ahead and echo back the variable that we retrieved. And let's go ahead and save this. Actually, let's do something different. We're in Java, so we could actually do something to send back the JSON formatted string without having to type it out ourselves. So nicely in Spring Boot, there's an object mapper class, which is from Jackson, the Jackson library. So we're going to go ahead and type in object mapper to see how it works. And it's Jackson data bind. So let's go ahead and see how to use that. And here's a nice write-up on it. And we'll see that it's already included in our in Spring Boot, so we don't actually have to import it. And here's how to use it. So we're going to get a new object mapper, which we kind of knew, and now we need to do write value as string and then pass it the object, and that'll go ahead and make it a string. So we're going to put our map in here. So let's go ahead and just call this, replace that with body, and then we'll set the variable to just return. We don't need the variable anymore, so we can remove that, and we actually don't need the email anymore either. Oh, we're not handling an exception. There could be something thrown there, so let's go ahead and let the IDE help us, and it's throwing a parse exception, and we don't need this line anymore either. So now we're just going to do a simple return what we got as a string, a JSON string. So we'll restart our server. And we'll repost the form. After a refresh, and let's go ahead and do that. So post the form, and we got back email and our data. So now we're actually getting round trip JSON data.